can follow up from the speech we just heard from, but I will try my best to make it exciting and make it worth your while. So if I could have a couple of volunteers, I have 3 things over on the table that I'd like to distribute to people while I'm speaking. There's a sign-up form, a pamphlet, and a sheet that I have brought with me that explain a little bit about why the Affordable Care Act is so detrimental to seniors. First off, again, my name is Zach Voelz. I am with the 60 Plus Association, and probably not a lot of you know about us, the 60 Plus Association, and what we're about. So I am here to explain that to you. 60 Plus Association was started in 1992, and our corporate headquarters are out of Alexandria, Virginia, and I am a field director basically for the southern part of the state of Indiana. I was just in Vanderburgh County, and so I have come up from Vanderburgh County to speak to your great group, and I appreciate Jim giving me the opportunity to come here and speak. We are a seniors issue advocacy group. We advocate for seniors. And our main issue for those that are over the age of 60 is obviously Obamacare and how detrimental that'll be to seniors over the age of 60, and how it will be detrimental to people my age and the little young man that's sitting there in the back row. So we are a non-partisan group, though. That is something that when we do our research, we are non-partisan. We are political. We do run TV ads on television supporting candidates that are for our cause, and we also do ads against those who do not support our cause. The way that I get a salary is because of private donors, and so our private donors really want to make sure that we're hitting the targets and the needs that are expected of us in the field. And so by coming to groups like yourself and talking to you about why Obamacare is so bad for seniors, I'm getting my job done. So I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. We have a very basic approach to our organization, that being that we support the free enterprise system. We also support limited government. We also take a less taxes approach to senior issues. This year in particular, we have 4 major issues that we want to really see happen. And first and ultimately is the full repeal, and when I say full repeal, I do mean the full repeal of Obamacare. And we want that done by next year. And the only way that we see this happening is that we see a new president in the White House. We also want to make sure that Social Security is solvent for all ages, not just those over the age of 60, but also for people like myself when I actually hopefully will get Social Security if I do get anything. And we want to make sure that that Medicare has full funding restored to it, and that it is solvent. And when Jim announced me up to the podium, Medicare is being rated as we speak of right now. So just so you know that. We also want to make sure that there are stable gas prices, not just for seniors, but also for all. To make sure that seniors have the ability to get around and be accessible, go to doctor's appointments, do the things that make them mobile. We want to make sure that there are stable gas prices. And finally, 60 Plus actually coined this term, and it's called the death tax. It's called the federal estate tax, and we want to see that tax eliminated within the federal government. So as you can tell, we deal with a lot of issues that are on the federal level. We don't deal with state issues. We deal a lot with the federal level. So when I talk a lot about these issues, they're on a federal level. So you need to be talking to your U.S. senators about these issues, calling them up, giving them your input, telling them what's going on. A little bit about how many members we have in our organization. Here in Indiana, we have about 145,000 members. And nationwide, we have about 7.2 million seniors that are in our organization. We consider ourselves to be the conservative alternative to the AARP. And many of you are probably going to ask me, well, why are you the conservative alternative to AARP? Well, AARP received millions upon millions of dollars within Obamacare. And so we are an organization that does not accept dues, we don't have fees, we don't have anything of the kind. You can be a member of 60 Plus just by signing the card that was given to you today. You don't have to pay any fees, you don't have to pay anything else, you just fill out a card and you're automatically a member of 60 Plus. So I'm going to get a little bit into my speech right now, and what I'm going to be talking about are the three major pillars of what really is going to hurt seniors within Obamacare, or what is called the Affordable Care Act. And I really appreciate the setup. I have a podium and I have a microphone. I didn't have any of this in my last speech, so I feel really comfortable, so I really appreciate it. The major issue that's going to really affect seniors is Medicare. And the numbers are going around everywhere between 700 to 715, 712, 716. So we'll just cap it at the biggest amount, which is probably 716 billion with a B dollars is being rated from Medicare to pay for Obamacare. So that is where this bill is going to be paid from, Medicare. And that Medicare is obviously, for a lot of you out there, is what keeps you healthy and keeps you to your doctor's visits and things like that. So Medicare is being rated to pay for Obamacare. There are no promises, and it is not addressed as to whether there will be enough doctors, nurses, laboratories, and testing equipment to adequately supply all of the needs of seniors that will now be put into the system, or are currently in the system under Obamacare, or will be in the future. There are no provisions to provide funding to doctors, nurses, laboratories, and testing equipment. If all seniors took advantage, and within the Affordable Care Act, there is an annual checkup that seniors can take advantage of within the Affordable Care Act. If they were to take advantage of that, we would already be at a deficit of 23,000 family physician doctors. So right now we are 23,000 family physician doctors in the hole. And for most of you know that a doctor takes anywhere from 8 to 10 years to get through college and fully become a professional as being a doctor. So we, just think of that. It takes 10 years to go through their profession to become who they are. And we're 23,000 doctors short as of right now. And that's only going to increase as time goes along. The Medicare spending cuts that will take effect, they basically exceed the new benefits by a factor of 10 to 1. More than $200 billion in spending cuts will take place under the Medicare Advantage plans, which are a different plan, a little bit more increased of a plan. And as a result, 1 in every 2 who participate in these Medicare Advantage plans will lose their coverage in the next 10 years, which amounts to about 7.4 to 14 million seniors. There are a lot of indirect taxes that are within Obamacare that a lot of people do not know about. And I can send this to Jim, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit briefly. We had a speaker come out to the Greencastle Defenders of Liberty meeting, and I really encourage each and every one of you to check this organization out. They're called the Taxpayer Protection Alliance Group, and they're exactly where we're from. They're from Alexandria, Virginia. And basically their major goal is to find out what waste is out there in our government. And obviously there is a lot. And what this man came up with, his name is David Williams, and he's with the Taxpayers Protection Alliance Group. And he came up with a sheet that is, I think, 3 pages long. And it deals with all of the taxes that are in Obamacare. There were 6 taxes that took effect in 2010. There were 2 taxes that took effect in 2011. one that took effect in 2012, 7 that took effect and that will take effect in 2013, 3 that will take effect in 2014, and 1 that will take effect in 2018. All of these will affect individuals, no matter your age, your group, whatever you're with, it will affect you. These are a part of what the Taxpayer Protection Alliance Group does and reveals in their studies. As you will see on your sheet that has been passed out to you, there is also going to be a 2.34% tax on medical devices. Well, many of you are going to tell me, well, I already know what a medical device is. It's something that's implanted into my heart. Well, that's true. But also a medical device could be a cane. It could be a wheelchair. It could be an oxygen machine. It could be anything that is needed for a person to help them get along. And so everything from that is going to be taxed at a 2.34% tax. And just in the last couple of weeks, there was a story out from Cook Medical Group. And they planned on bringing 300 jobs, manufacturing jobs, to the state of Indiana to build medical devices here in Indiana. But when the 2.34% tax was brought up and Cook Medical Group went through and basically did a cost analysis of what it was going to cost for them to put up this manufacturing facility, put it here in Indiana, they found out that it was not worth their while to do it because of the taxes, the 2.34% taxes. So now they're going to have to ship those jobs off to another country because the tax system was too high in certain Midwestern states to build those medical devices. There was also another story this week and it was in the Indianapolis Star, and it's from a group called Hologic, H-O-L-O-G-I-C. They were already here and they were in Boone County. They basically did not give a for sure, reason as to why they were leaving, but 200 people were given pink slips this past week because of the fact, and I'm assuming that basically they're leaving because of the tax on the 2.34% tax. They are going back to Massachusetts, which is their corporate headquarters, and every state, as you know, has different tax structures, so maybe Massachusetts offered a different tax structure than what Indiana offered. But that is 200 jobs that are no longer here in the state of Indiana. There are going to be direct effects for seniors in the future and currently to seniors within businesses that offer post-retirement drug benefit plans for seniors. And basically, as an alternative to Medicare Part D, which is a prescription drug coverage plan. Most employers in these programs receive about $665 per employee, or per retiree, along with tax breaks that brings that up to about $665. Well, or it could be even more than that, depending upon what business you're in. Well, the Affordable Care Act, what it does is it cuts away that subsidy, and it basically gives all of that money back to the business and says, you pay that for your employees. So it is estimated that AT&T says that it's going to cost them around $1 billion, and that could probably be increased to probably $2 billion as a result to fill in this void that the government is not going to pay for their employees. So either the company or the business will have to pay it out of their own pocket, or they just will not offer it to retirees. 27 million seniors as a result of these cuts are going to pay higher premiums for Medicare Part D in order to close what is called the donut hole. And 4 million seniors reach the donut hole, and 1 million seniors surpass that threshold. And as a result, it is expected that premiums will increase by about 9% by 2019. As a result of these plan cuts in Medicare reimbursements, seniors are going to get less care at hospitals. And because it will force doctors to retire early, because Medicare patients are not going to be as valuable to them. And it's going to cause hospitals to close down, and I will talk a little bit more about that later on here. So to get a general idea as to what the cuts are going to be to Medicare, by 2014, you're going to have about a $290 haircut. $290 is going to be taken off of Medicare in 2014. If you're in a Medicare Advantage plan, you're a little bit more, you're going to lose a lot more. $877 by 2013 and $1,267 by 2014. And all of this information that I'm getting is coming from a nonpartisan website. We do all of our research from nonpartisan websites, and this one comes from What Does Healthcare Reform Mean to You? And it is by the National Center for Policy Analysis. When the Affordable Care Act was created in 2010, they basically put in the bill that there was going to be a 30% cut in Medicare Medicare fees paid to physicians over the next 3 years, followed by additional cuts in the following years. So we've already begun cutting right now as it stands, as of 2010, and we're in 2012. And we're going to be expecting to see even more cuts come along. This one really shocked me, and the fact is that Medicare fees will fall below Medicaid rates by 2019, and will continue to fall further behind in the following years. It is estimated that by 2050, Medicare will pay only half as much as what private insurance plans pay. So if you're on a private plan, you're better off than being with Medicare. What effect will this have? And by 2080, it will only pay a third. And that's Medicare. It is estimated, what effect will this have on hospitals? 1 in 7 hospitals will basically close down because they will no longer receive Medicare payments. So most hospitals that have a lot of the innovation, technology, things like that are for-profit hospitals. And if they're not receiving money from Medicare, they're not going to become profitable. So therefore, they're going to have to shut down. 25% of all facilities will be shutting down by 2030, and it increases up to 40% by 2050. So secondly, how will the cuts be administered in Medicare? Well, within your sheet that has been passed out to you, it's called the Independent Payment Advisory Board. And this is a 15-member bureaucratic board that was given solely by executive privilege by President Obama to cut Medicare. The most amazing part of IPAB is the fact that I don't have to be a doctor, I don't have to be a surgeon, I don't have to be anything to deal with the medical profession. And I can be politically appointed to be on this board. To me, that's shocking, and it's also disturbing. The new law assumes that the federal government can grow Medicare at about half the rate of growth on spending for health care overall, while at the same time not exceeding or growing faster than the rate of the gross national income of the United States or the gross domestic product. So we're going to be spending, what they're basically saying is we're going to be spending on healthcare at the same time that we're having our GDP grow at the same time. So our GDP and our federal spending on healthcare is going to be level. And we all know that that's not the truth. We all know that GDP is down, and we know that they're going to be spending more on healthcare because of the Affordable Care Act. Congressional oversight whatsoever. It is an independent executive board set up by the president with his executive privilege. Congress must make cuts that are equal to or over the IPAB's recommendations, or accept the cuts that are given by the IPAB board. If Congress fails to meet its own plans with IPAB, then IPAB's cuts become law. So basically anything and everything goes through iPad. So it's really crazy. There are a lot of, I think there are two major problems with iPad. One being that there is no consideration for cost control or cost containment within this at all. The only thing that it basically mentions is that it's going to cut fees to doctors, hospitals, and suppliers. It also implies that Medicare payments will fall behind private payments and making Medicare patients less desirable to doctors. And therefore, again, doctors will not be doctors. They will move on. They will go to other countries. They will just overall quit the profession because they're not receiving Medicare payments. And Medicare patients will be treated like Medicaid patients, in which they will have to seek care at what are called community health centers, which are privately funded through foundations, or they're funded through private donors, or they're in conglomeration with big corporations of hospitals, or they will be going to safety net hospitals. And I know this very well because my parents are co-directors of a clinic in my county, which is Morgan County. And on a bi-weekly basis, they see anywhere from 30 to 35 or 40 patients. No one at the clinic is paid. It is all run by foundation money. And a lot of these patients that come in can't afford toilet paper to wipe their butt. They don't have prescription drugs. They don't have anything. So they're coming in needing all of these necessities to get by. And so it's really disheartening, and what's going to happen is the doctors will have to do all of this without any pay, or they'll have to do it by charity care, which means they will have to set a certain price for doing something, whether it be an invasive surgery or whether it be something as simple as I don't know, doing an exam. So that is where we're heading with Medicare, and that's where the cuts are going to be taking place from. So what about this big monster called the Medicare Trust Fund, where all this money, somewhere where a lot of this money is? Well, the Human Health Director, Kathy Sebelius, claims that the cuts to Medicare, whether they be $700 billion or $500 billion or $716 billion, these cuts in Medicare are going to help the Medicare Trust Fund make benefit payments easier in the future. Now, does that really make sense to anyone here? No, it doesn't make any sense. Because if you're cutting from it, that's supposedly going to make it more efficient. To me, that doesn't make any sense. However, and this was in 2010, the Congressional Budget Office, which is a non-partisan group, the director's name at that time was Douglas Elmendorf, claims that the amount that is going to be cut is quote-unquote impermissible double counting. Supposedly the money that is being saved within the cuts made by Medicare will either be used for, one, payments for health insurance for younger individuals, two will be put aside to pay for Medicare benefits in the future. Medicare is for people over the age of 60. That's what Medicare is for. It is not meant for other things, and this is exactly what this bill does. The bill explicitly uses cuts in Medicare to fund health insurance subsidies, like I said, for younger individuals, but it does nothing to aid the future of the Medicare program or the financial safety of Medicare in the future. So with that, I am going to close in just saying that we are an organization that advocates and educates seniors on what is now already taking place and what is going to happen in the future. We do a lot of phone banking. We do door-to-door. So we could really use a lot of help from folks like yourself to come to this facility or wherever you meet next and make a very simple phone call that's under a minute, asking 4 questions. One deals with the president race, one deals with the U.S. Senate race, third one deals with Obama's economic policies, and the fourth one deals with whether they approve or disapprove of the health care law. And these calls are vitally important because it helps target who we really want to target, which are the seniors who are going to be voting mainly for Republican candidates and believe that Obama's economic policies have made the economy worse and that they disapprove of the Affordable Care Act. So with that, I think I will close unless there are any questions from the group. Yes?
I got 3 points I want to bring up, and I want your opinion on them.
Okay.
I know this Obama health care, they got death panels, let's say if you're 72 and you get cancer, well, if that cost is going to cost more than they think your life's worth, they have the obligation not to treat you, and that they'll give you some pill to put you to sleep permanent with. But at the same time, the money that could go to help this guy to live a little longer, to watch his kids grow up or his grandkids, the same money goes to cover illegals. Illegals are covered under this Obamacare. And my third point is, these stinking Democrats that passed this Obamacare, they had the choice of opting out. They had the choice of having a different health care plan than Obamacare than the rest of us peons that were forced to go on this.
Well, I think when you mention death panels, that's something that a lot of people kind of throw around. Death panels, basically the death panel is IPAP. When you basically cut Medicare at a certain rate without any congressional oversight, that includes funding for drugs, that includes innovation and technology. When you do that, you're giving less choice to individuals. You're giving them less ability to take care of their health and to bring innovation into the 21st century with healthcare. As far as the healthcare benefits and plans, it's really interesting. I have from the Taxpayer Protection Alliance group, I have basically, I think it's 9 pages that talks about the new boards and commissions that are going to be created under the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. And I think it's a total of 159 new boards and commissions that are going to be created due to Obamacare. And each one of those boards and commissions is going to need what? It's going to need money. So this is a bill basically that says we want to put money into something that we really don't have any money to spend on. And so, I'll send these links to Jim and then he can pass them out to the rest of you here. But this bill is something that we're just starting to see the first glimmers of how not costly or not affordable this bill is. And the other thing that I really want to stress, and I think I stressed in the beginning, is please talk to this with your friends, family, neighbors, anybody that you have conversations with, even if it's a Democrat. Talk to them about it. Because even the Democrat and some Republicans and even independents don't know have no clue what's in this bill. And it's becoming a big monster, and it's getting bigger every day. And so if we don't educate people about it, then people will just brush it to the side and it will get passed through, which it already has been, but the taxes will come through, all of these things will start to evolve, and we'll sit back and go, wow, this was something that I didn't know was coming down the pipeline. Yes?
2-point question. First, on this iPad, will future presidents have the ability to change that board with his selection of people? And also, there is a lot of scuttlebutt going around. I have no idea whether it's true or not, about people that are 75 years or older. They require some sort of test or treatment or something of this nature that the doctor has to get approval from someone in order to perform this test. And if they say if they don't get the approval, the person doesn't get it. Do you know anything about that?
The man who talked at the Greencastle meeting did bring a little bit of that up, and I can't really explain it as eloquently as he did, but there is something along the line of that is going to take place where there has to be approval by someone who is over the age of 75 to get certain medical care to that individual. I can get you a better response. My business card is over on the table. Please do take it, and I can get in contact with you and give you a more precise answer to what you're talking about. As far as IPAB, within IPAB, basically this is something that cannot be undone. The president has given way too much executive privilege on this board for it to be reversed. There is no way that this can be reversed. It is something that is here to stay. And so unless again, we have someone in the office, in the White House, to change the policy and direction of where this is going. So, a lot of people ask me, well, what's 60 Plus's alternative to Obamacare? Well, our alternative is to make sure that there is different leadership in the White House so that we can change the course of where this healthcare law is going. And the most dramatic effect that we can do is have that by next year. There are some things that have already taken effect, like I have said, some taxes that have already been instituted, things like that. But overall, we need to have a different direction in the White House in order for this to be changed in its entirety. And also, one thing that a lot of people have been bringing up to me as well is this whole idea of a chip. There's somehow, people are thinking that we're going to get chips put in our arms. Well, that is only if you volunteer to do that, as of right now. That could very well change, but right now, the whole chip idea is something that if you voluntarily want to do it, you can do it. It is happening in other countries in Europe, in passports. They're putting chips inside passports. It is happening in other countries, but it is not happening here as of right now. What has already happened and what is starting to take place is there is a national database that basically says what each person in here's symptoms are. And they know what your symptoms are, what your past history is of surgery, this, that, and the other. It is already here and it is already taking place. So just to let you know that, not to scare you, but it is there and that is what is happening right now. So is there any other questions that anybody has? Well, thank you very much again for letting me speak, and I hope you have a great day.